What's good, everybody? We're back.
Surprise!
There is no off season ever.
There is no off season in Southern football. Welcome to the PrepZone Football Preview National Signing Day Special. I'm Jack Patterson, David Mitchell, Prep Sports Writer for the Ledger Inquirer, and Sports Director Dane.
You never put the lower third in there with our Twitters, do you?
I do it at the end of the show.
Oh,
He'll do it this time.
Come on.
I'm rusty. Okay.
You don't have a 3-anchor super, okay?
Good.
Are we going to lose our way this early?
Yeah.
Yep. So let's get started. We know a lot of you have a lot of questions about National Signing Day. Who's going where, and what is your favorite team going to look like at the end?
I can tell you this. That's a list of places and times that we have to be places. So
Yeah,
who's going
there are
where?
a lot of places and a lot of times and a lot of things.
We're going to be a lot of places. Like pretty much every school. Most schools in our area will be
February
represented.
3rd is going to be nuts for any member of sports media in the Chattahoochee Valley. Just saying.
I think one thing to kind of kick off this discussion, we look back at some of the great classes from this area, and there are always some good ones. This is the best class we've had in a few years, probably since the Isaiah Crowell, Gabe Wright year.
I think maybe this particular class is deeper than some of the last couple years, but I don't know if it has the top end. If you go Rayshawn Evans a couple years ago, I don't see that massive 5-star. Maybe it's just that they're not making the decision on signing day that adds some of the
I think
drama.
that's probably part of it. I mean, we've had, John Broussard, Jawan Pass. I mean, these were guys who were major high-profile recruits.
They've just decided
they
early.
Decided
They did
a long
it a
time
year
ago.
early.
Yeah.
And that's
Come on, drama guy. Nobody has any sense of drama.
I think I saw McCole Hardman said that he might have his mom make a cake with all the different teams on them because he didn't want to do the hats.
The most delicious commitment ever.
Well, I mean, I would say even if he doesn't commit to a school, that's cake you can eat. So.
Yeah.
Of course.
Let's get started, guys. And I think we're going to start with the teams that are really just leading the way in the Chattahoochee Valley as far as recruits going. And I think when you look at that, you start with Auburn and Central. They both potentially have 4 D1 recruits heading into signing day.
Central, I'll speak to them first because we've been talking about this potential class, and get ready, next year.
It gets better.
Might be a little bit bigger.
Nuts.
Chaos. But
And that's still not including Justin Ross.
yeah, and he's 2 years from now. But
I still can't believe he's a sophomore.
great class right now. John Broussard has already signed his papers, but he's going to come back on signing day.
Yeah, be with the team one
be
more
with
time.
The team. He's going to already at Auburn. You got Jamal Couch. He's going to Mississippi State.
Just happened last week.
Decommitted from Florida State to go to Mississippi
Quan
State.
Weaver, Middle Tennessee State. Walter Pritchett's Troy. Torrin Morton has decided he's at Tennessee Tech, going to Tennessee Tech.
Okay.
Darius King, I'm told, is Alabama State. So I mean, we got a lot of guys, Division I quality players at Central.
Good players.
Yeah. I guess that's why they went to the semifinals.
And I think it'll be interesting both with those guys we talk about, but to look in the crowd like you're talking about and to see a Markel Benton out there who's going to be one of the best linebackers in the country, already is, and going to have a decision to make himself.
Yeah.
Jamie DuBose just came upon a gold mine and just started. He made it even better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now he's tweeting about it.
We'll get to that later. Let's switch over to Auburn. I mean, they've got a couple of D1 prospects, but they're not from conferences that you would think. We have Tyler Pritchett that's going to UNC.
Offensive lineman.
Got Noah Barnes going to Maryland, the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time the Big Ten had somebody from our area.
Some teams reaching way down south, and
he was a late flip to Maryland as well.
Exactly. So that's a couple that stands out to me, and we'll get into North Carolina in a little bit. But I think Auburn's right there with Central, and let's just be honest, 7A football again. You talk about his big boy football. I guess it just goes to show that they have a lot of talent that colleges are looking for nowadays.
the cupboard isn't bare either.
Well, one guy to remember is Sage Ledbetter at Auburn.
Yeah.
Kickers are people too, as Jack says.
I was just going to say, kickers are people too.
Sage is a preferred walk-on at Auburn. We've all seen him kick.
Oh,
he's a very preferred walk-on at Auburn.
He will make the team.
Sage is a college kicker, and I think we've seen that for a while.
He'll be their kicker in a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, he might be doing onside kicks after that Central
heir
game.
apparent to Daniel Carter.
He was in that Central, talking about Central and Auburn, if Auburn had pulled that game out, he's the MVP of that game.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down. So.
And that team, as much transition as they went through Auburn, these seniors were very integral into getting them to be number 2 in that region, which every year with Auburn, early on, doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do it. They struggle at first, don't seem to gel,
They're like
and then they find a way to.
7A version of the San Diego Chargers.
They always end up hosting first round of the playoffs
Yeah.
at Duck Sanford, and
Yeah.
they're a dangerous team when they do.
Exactly.
I think all around, what you can say about both of these teams, these are players who are going to make impacts at the next level. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of times you see players who are, you know, they're going to one of these big schools, but maybe would be able to have a little bit more playing time, get to have a bigger impact early on at maybe a smaller level. A lot of these guys signing with big schools are players who will go, will play. We will hear their names on Saturday.
Tyler
in the coming
Pritchett,
years.
I think, is interesting because you think about Auburn. They had 4 different running backs. I mean, they would throw so many guys back there, and they were all different. Bigger, faster. Bradley Northcutt would run himself. So Pritchett, very good athlete to be the size that he is, to be able to move with that, to block differently for those schemes. I think that's impressive. North Carolina's getting a good one.
Yeah, and I'll mention one guy for Central, Jamal Couch. He's a really interesting prospect because he's a guy who played wide receiver 100% of the time at Central. But you know, there's talk. He's listed as an athlete on his recruiting profile.
Some
He's
linebacker?
mentioned as a linebacker. That's where he was originally kind of slated to play at Florida State. He's got the size, man. He's 6'5". 220,
He's built.
225, really strong guy. So I think there's a lot of different areas that he could go in college. So it'll be interesting to see where.
Either
he
way,
ends up.
he's going to be a talent for Mississippi State.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dan Mullen's done a good job in our area as well, because even if Mississippi State doesn't get a lot of these guys, a lot of them think about Mississippi State. They visit there. They're in their final, 3 or 5.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
That's
Except you are the bride this time. Congratulations, Mississippi State.
I'm not even going to start with that. Let's go to our next topic, and that is the kind of the elephant in the room. Justin Crawford. For those of you who don't know who Justin Crawford is, Hardaway graduate.
It's been a couple years since he was here.
Running back.
Running back. Went to Northwest Mississippi Community College. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And was the JUCO Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year this year.
They won the national championship for JUCO.
Exactly.
And naturally,
Everybody wants
him to come to their team now. He was, a couple years ago coming out of Hardaway, he was somebody who was looked at as Louisville wanted him. Georgia, I don't know if they ever officially offered at the time.
They were flirting.
They were recruiting him. Auburn was looking at him. He was a player who obviously had talent. We all knew the talent was there. Needed to mature a little bit, which sometimes that just happens. Sometimes you're not quite ready coming out of high school. He went to junior college at Northwest Mississippi, and by all accounts has exceeded expectations. Done fantastic things over there. You can look him up on YouTube. Some of his plays.
He's
over
great.
there. Some ridiculous plays. Normally, a runner can come out of the backfield and make
return kicks,
make spectacular catches, return kicks. He's a guy who will end up on a team and make an instant impact, and that's why so many of these teams want him. Missouri and West Virginia look like the leaders. I'm told West Virginia is the leader. He's going back. Just took a visit from Dana Holgerson at Northwest Mississippi. Will visit West Virginia this weekend. He wants Georgia to offer.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what he's waiting for.
Now, here's the thing with Georgia. If things don't go the way they want to around signing day, which it happens, that's exactly how Tay Crowder ended up at Georgia. He was not in the plans for Mark Richt's staff, and they called 2 days before, said, hey, we have a spot for you, and it works. You never know.
You never know. I think a lot of it comes down to also waiting to find out about Nick Chubb's status, how he's coming back from his surgery. And if he comes back and he's the player that everybody thinks he can be again next year, then you got a lot of log jam in Athens at the running back position. You got Chubb, you got Sony Michel.
Still have Brendan Douglas. He's still there.
Somehow.
Brendan Douglas, he's like a
for his 14th year.
eighth-year senior. You got Elijah Holyfield coming in.
Yeah.
You got Tay Crowder from Harris County, who signed there last year, and reports out of Athens have him doing a lot of good things. So there's a lot of logjam there, but there's a reason a lot of teams want Justin Crawford, and it's because he has experience at the college level. He can come in and make an immediate impact.
Most teams like to get 2 running backs per class, especially in the SEC.
Yeah.
So if Georgia only ends up with Elijah Holyfield, I would be surprised by that.
And
so that may lean toward Crawford.
remember, and his name's I'm drawing a blank on his name, the running back out of Texas who had committed and decommitted from Georgia.
Yeah.
That spot hasn't been filled yet. There's still that running back spot open for Georgia if they wanted to offer Crawford. So he said he would commit if Georgia offers, but right now it's looking like Missouri, West Virginia are 2 of the key places.
I will say it doesn't appear like Georgia has made Crawford one of their priorities based on where their coaches have been at this point.
And remember this, something we haven't mentioned. There is a connection with Del McGee. Justin Crawford knows Del McGee. He is the running backs coach at Georgia now.
Never know.
So I'm sure Del is in
his paper.
I'm sure
Justin's probably called Del.
I'm sure Justin has called Coach McGee a handful of times, and I'm sure McGee is probably whispering some things into some people's ears, tell him about the type of player he is.
Yeah.
He faced him
He knows.
multiple times.
Oh, yeah?
He knows. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to watch for him. The key is, I'm told he won't make a decision before signing day. He will not be on National Signing Day, but he'll definitely be one of those names to watch in the immediate aftermath.
These JUCO guys are worth watching anyway. Most of the ones that I think we know of left a big-time school and then for usually behavior reasons and then came back to another school with Zach Mettenberger and Nick Marshall. Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Hello.
But this is a little different where Justin started out at that step and then is coming, but it's still the same process.
Yeah.
He can immediately be a contributor to help a team potentially get the championship.
For me personally, just, in my college football fanhood, I love when my team gets JUCOs because they are guys who have played against bigger size.
Yeah.
They are guys that are used to the everyday demands of college football.
Been away from home.
The only thing they're missing, obviously the level isn't as high, but sometimes it is. A lot of those kids who end up at junior colleges are guys who went through some struggles coming out of high school and are very talented. Cam Newton played in junior college.
Yeah.
So, and he won national championship.
He was pretty good, right?
He was all right.
Yeah.
He was all right.
Still doing pretty well, I think.
Playing in a little game on Sunday that you can see right here.
Okay.
On News 3.
Plus, that's just a great option for kids that need a step before they get to that stage. And I think we have some superstars in our area that I think it's great.
There's nothing wrong with
not a
going
thing wrong
to
with
a JUCO.
that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
There's
at
some
all.
really good JUCOs out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Some in Georgia.
Yeah.
GMC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of them. All right, let's move along. And a couple interesting trends that we're noticing with some of the offers that have come down from the Chattahoochee Valley. North Carolina, Cincinnati, and Louisville. 3 schools that are not really anywhere close near to here.
Yeah.
But they have made a lot of offers to kids, and they also have ties to area teams. Gene Chizik, the former Auburn coach at North Carolina, he's the defensive coordinator. Tommy Tuberville, the former Auburn head coach, is the head coach at Cincinnati. And then Todd Grantham is the defensive coordinator at Louisville.
Yeah.
He's the former UGA.
Don't forget, Bobby Petrino has been down this way too. So
let's not bring that.
Their offensive coordinator was the UAB head coach, correct? Garrick McKee, is that right?
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
I believe that's right. Don't quote me.
I mean, there's a lot. We got a ton of guys in our area at Louisville right now. Some that were starting. Trey Samuel was great freshman year already.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just kind of is just that recruiting pipeline that's going to the ACC right now is different from what we've had. Maybe not so much as prevalent in the past couple years, but we've had guys here and there go there. But you just kind of knows this has been a bigger deal this year.
The new kid on the block among these 3 to me is North Carolina.
Yeah.
I think, first of all, the season that they had was unexpected, especially how they played against South Carolina to start the year. They have a lot of positive momentum. They almost beat Clemson.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a chance to beat Clemson in the ACC championship game.
In addition to Tyler Pritchett at Auburn, Javonte Smith was a UNC commit, recently decommitted, but regardless, I mean, that's a sign that, I mean, they have kind of taken a hold.
And
in
another signing, Luke Elder from LaGrange is committed to UNC.
Another offensive lineman. So the offensive line will be 2 guys from our area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. And then Cincinnati, they have offering to Josh Johnson and Opelika Flakes from Auburn and Tyreek Martin from Valley. So we got 3 East Alabama players, great East Alabama players, that Tuberville influence.
And that's after pulling Tyler McGarr from Harris County last year on that offensive line.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm not sure if he is still on the hook right now. Austin Hester at Shaw was getting attention from Cincinnati, Eastern Carolina, those kind of schools. So, he could. I'm not entirely sure whether he's gotten off from them right now, whether he could end up there. But, again, Cincinnati's been here. And the big one's been Louisville.
Yeah.
I mean, Louisville has really, and it all kind of started with Marcus Smith, coming out a few years ago, coming from Hardaway, who was a quarterback coming out of Hardaway and ended up playing defensive end, getting drafted first round. Was okay at Louisville. Had like 14.5 sacks as a senior. It's not bad.
Did well for
since
himself.
Since the sarcasm, he was good. And now, you mentioned Trey Samuel, Kane Pass is there, which is why I don't think, which is a topic that we'll have, is why I don't think Jawan Pass.
That's a tease, everyone.
Change.
That's a tease in the news business.
Amonte Caban.
Amonte Caban.
Forget him station.
Him. Yeah, and there are others who have considered or will consider and are considering Louisville. Mekhi Brown was close last year.
Very close.
He ended up at Alabama. He was close to flipping. Todd Grantham was down here constantly trying to get him to go over to Louisville. So I think Jawan Pass. To answer your next question, I think Jawan Pass stays at
That's
Louisville.
not even. Well, it is.
It is coming up next.
It is the next question, and that is, will Puma Jawan Pass? Man, stop. Will Puma Carver quarterback Jawan Pass? Will he stay at Louisville or go to Alabama? He visited Alabama last week.
That's the only reason this even became a topic at all, is because it came out that Puma was going to visit Alabama this late in recruitment, when his recruitment had pretty much been silent from it, from our perspective. But we all know when these guys commit, it doesn't matter. Coaches are contacting them until the last second.
Here's the thing that people who don't follow recruiting behind the scenes, who see the stuff on Twitter, and that's all that they see, people posting stuff from visits on Twitter. And I'm not saying this is the case for Jawan. He might be considering Alabama, but these recruits take their visits while they got him.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're switching. And when he takes a visit to Alabama, everybody kind of freaks out. All the Louisville fans are going to freak out about it. And all the Alabama fans are going to get really excited too.
Because they're going to, we're Bama. We can pull anybody.
Yeah, and they can. And if it was any other team, I would say no way, no how. He's 100% on board.
But is Nick Saban? I don't put anything past that man.
I'll give Alabama a small percentage chance, but the fact that Kane passes at Louisville, I think that connection's a big thing. I don't expect him to change, but y'all can.
We've seen crazy.
Y'all can call me stupid if I'm wrong.
I will say, with Louisville's freshman quarterback, you have to wonder if Puma looked at how he ended the season and say,
that's a question.
Maybe I'm further away from playing quarterback there than I thought.
That's a legitimate question. With that said, Alabama's brought in a couple of decent quarterbacks.
They got Cooper Bateman back there. Yeah, they're going to get a 5-star every year.
Blake Barnett. I mean, they're there. So they haven't proven it yet, but. You're still, there's anywhere you go. If you're going to a big school,
you're going to compete.
There's going to be competition no matter what.
So I think he stays.
I think we all agree we don't expect a surprise, but if he does,
tune in at 10 a.m. on Wednesday.
Then the Twitter that you were talking about will blow up.
Yes, it will blow up.
It will not blow up. It will implode.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's sort of the same thing.
Kind of is. There's still an explosion. I guess it's just where it starts.
Implode is implosion. Explode is explosion. Come on, Dane. God, clearly.
What are you? A science teacher now?
I guess I have to be.
I mean, I went to journalism school too, so science was not my forte. I will agree with that.
Okay.
Maybe you're just more well-rounded than I am.
I don't know about that.
Here we go. And crap, we've kind of flown through this.
We got plenty we could talk about if you want to keep on going.
What do you want to talk about, Jack?
I mean, look, I want to talk about a couple of these guys. Marcus Wright, excited for what he's going to do at Army. Essang Bassi, legit.
What are we talking about? I thought we just wanted to kill some time and talk here.
Yeah, we're just.
Yeah, let's talk.
Cameras aren't here.
Yeah, we got more guys. Essang Bassi's going to Wake Forest.
Essang's cool, man. I like that kid.
I love him. Marcus Wright going to Auburn.
How about DeAndre Bowman going to Georgia State?
Yeah. Georgia State, a D1 guy. Ben Davis going to Davidson.
I do want to point this out. You can tell that Dale McGee left Georgia Southern because I don't see Georgia Southern anyone on our
Nope.
list. And if Dale McGee was still at Georgia Southern, there'd be some people heading to Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Am I too comfortable for this? I'm really
Not for me.
I might do the rest of the show like this.
Cool.
I mean, we've done everything else on this show.
Am I going to get in trouble for having my feet up on the desk?
No, Coach Coggins
I'm
does
not
it every.
welcome
No.
here. Okay. I don't work here, so.
You're on this show, though.
Yeah, well, there you go.
You're a friend of the show, a friend of the station.
Yeah, friend of the WRBL
So-
Sports Department.
Who else we got? Who else signing? Let's kind of run down some of them.
I think we should talk about Opelika's offense. Honestly, we don't know what Josh Johnson's going to do. We do know that Kyle Fortenberry is going to Western Kentucky. That offense was really good. And you talk about looking ahead at potentially next year. If Jake Bentley is still playing at Opelika, best quarterback in the state, in my opinion. Best quarterback I've seen play high school football since I've been in our area. He helped elevate that offense, help a guy like Fortenberry to get a couple offers. I mean, I believe he was committed to South Alabama and then flipped over to Western Kentucky. Josh Johnson's got 10 or so offers.
Yes,
He's got his choices.
I looked through Cincinnati, like I said earlier. I think there's a Marshall and Nevada involved in there as well.
Yeah, so he's got a chance to go a lot of different places.
And keep an eye too. Like we're mentioning some of the big names that you can look up on 24/7 Rivals. There are going to be a lot more names.
Yeah.
A lot more names. Central, I'm told, has 8 signing. Not all of those are Division Ones, but they're
We'll have a lot of
Name
Point
6.
Universities and College of the Cumberlands.
Yeah, and anytime there is a place for anybody who wants to play football at the next level.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. I mean, and it doesn't matter. Signing day. If you get a scholarship, it's an amazing thing.
And I'll say this just in terms of how we're going to cover signing days. So any parent watching this, please don't get upset with us because we have a limited time in newscast.
It's only like a 19-minute newscast once you take out the commercial.
And we have a limited schedule that we can only stay at places sometimes for 20 minutes before we have to go to the next place. So we might be speaking to mainly the D1 prospects, but that's not a slight to anyone else that doesn't go D1. I want to make sure that that's all clear.
We've got log jams. We've got 5 signings between 10 and 11.
We had to get together with other stations and contact with Chelly to ask them to move theirs an hour later just to help us out a little bit. So it's just, like there's a lot of talented people in our area, and we're going to do the best we can to highlight as much as we can.
While you guys are celebrating, we're all going to be running around with our heads cut off.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. There's a great day
because it's worth it to recognize our student athletes.
You talk to any coach, every coach I talk to, they say this is their favorite day of the year because there's no greater feeling than a coach getting to send off one of the guys that he's brought along and see him sign and say, and for a lot of them, a lot of coaches say to be able to send them to college.
Yeah.
It's not to be able to send them on to college football. It's to send them on to college. And that's a great thing for
Diallo Burks called me from LaGrange. He said, we want to do it up big. We want this to be like the NFL draft. We want to have just a big old, y'all better be here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, because he knows there's going to be a party. And that is great that they're sending him to college. There's also a piece of these coaches that know if I get enough D1 prospects in here, that just helps our program grow. Sure. It's the Alabama syndrome where you're sending 5 guys in the NFL draft every year, so it helps you recruit. And it helps you motivate players to work harder. If you can look at it and say, look, you saw what Jamal Couch did. He had offers from Florida State and he went to Mississippi State. You saw what John Broussard did in enrolling in Auburn early. Puma, since he was a sophomore, everyone knew he was going to have offers all over the country. That really helps coaches. It's easy to motivate when you can point at those guys like that. And that's why I think guys like Asang Bassey can help build a program at Columbus. Marcus Wright at Jordan, where you don't really have as much of a recent history of a lot of 4 and 5 stars coming out of there.
We talk about these guys like Bassey and Marcus Wright. Marcus Wright is I think it's been, I did a story on this before, I want to say 2002, 2003, the last time Jordan had a big a Division I signee, and Marcus Wright gets to be that for that program now. Asang Bassey, they've had a couple Division I's, like at Georgia State and stuff like that, but not like one of the Power 5 conferences.
We're talking ACC.
Yeah, and Bassey, he's a guy who didn't have as much attention as maybe he should have had in the last year, but it didn't throw him off course. He kept going.
And he, like you said, he's treating this Wake Forest deal as, I'm using this for education.
Yeah.
He wants to go to be a sports agent, is what he told
Yeah.
us. And one thing about him, I just want to give a shout out to Marcus Wright. That dude, he's his own agent.
He's
Oh my gosh.
He's PR or something like that.
So I'm
telling
sorry,
you, Marcus. You're right on. He's publicist. He's his own publicist.
I'm sorry at saying when you become a sports agent, you will not be representing Marcus Wright because he represents himself. I think he contacted all of us individually and made sure that we knew time and place for his signing because he wanted to share that with us.
Yeah.
And make sure
I'm meeting him tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, well,
You gonna go work out with him?
No, I'm not. But hey, maybe we could. We're gonna be in a weight
it
room.
up.
Nice.
That's
I
one.
just dropped the Joe Budden reference.
It's one thing I'm excited about. These kids, these are really good kids that a lot of good players.
And that's
are
what
getting.
we can say about a lot of the kids that come out of our area year in and year out. They're genuinely good kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one reason they get recruited highly because
Yeah.
if it's down to people of similar athletic prowess, it comes down to who's going to be the better teammate, the better person who's going to show up.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of people out there that don't have that maturity.
Yeah.
All right.
We killed enough time.
Yeah, let's wrap this bad boy up. Last thing, talking about Auburn, Alabama, UGA, some of the top recruits we're looking out for. I think one of the big ones is Miko Hardman.
He's a big one just because of his pure athleticism.
Exactly.
I'm not sure that we know whether he's going offense, defense. I think he
Or
can
both.
pretty much do it all.
He probably will
Like a
do
Champ
both.
Bailey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a guy who's going to make a difference on whatever team he chooses. And we're pretty excited about that cake, is what I'm really excited
Well,
about.
if they cook 6 cakes.
You know what they should do?
They should
Like
send one to us.
6-layer.
Oh.
6-layer cake.
Like you just take one layer off and the bottom one is the team he's going to?
Or you know what he should do? He should do like cupcakes and line them up and then eliminate them, eat a cupcake for each team he's eliminating, and then go down to the final 2. And then
go run the 40 after eating all those cupcakes.
that's
and
a lot of
prove-
sugar. I'm sure his college coach.
That won't end
His
well.
college coach would be like, "Ugh."
Why?
Just from a broader sense, and we're going to talk about a couple players that are really highly coveted. I honestly, I've heard Nick Saban say before that playing in national championships is great. It really hurts recruiting, though, because they're not on the road and some of the other teams are, just because they don't have the time to do that. And I guess in Georgia's case, Kirby Smart also dealing with the same thing.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, the job that Kirby's and there are factions still, although I think the factions are starting to come together a little bit behind Kirby Smart about whether he should even be there right now.
Yeah.
Because they think Mark Richt should be. But
Which, by the way, Mark Richt is have you seen his Twitter lately?
Yeah. Oh,
he's
yeah.
in New Jersey
Yeah,
and
he's
Mississippi
everywhere.
and Florida in the same day.
The job that Kirby Smart did keeping this class together while coaching
a national
a
champion.
different team. Can't say enough about
Against
the job
Deshaun
he's
Watson.
done. Yeah,
Exactly. Trying to come up with a defense to stop Deshaun
Now,
Watson.
to be fair, Alabama's defense did not play very well that game. But
Good enough.
Yeah, they played well enough.
They played 5 points better, and that's all that matters.
I think we all know that the second that Kirby got Jacob Eason to stick with Georgia, that just kept so much in line
He was
for
the
him.
Everything
glue.
was
He
going to
was
be
the glue.
okay.
Because Eason had been recruiting for Georgia for a year already.
Yeah.
And so you do that, and that helps with
That brought in Isaac Nada. Who
tight end.
I think he's was more important than Jacob Eason. Maybe Jacob Eason's more important because he keeps that class together, but I think as far as being on the field,
Immediate impacts.
Isaac Nada is going to be, I mean, we're talking, we can't stretch. Rob Gronkowski is far and away just so good. But he's that type of player, though.
Yeah.
He's that type of player he's 6'5", 240, I think, a big old guy.
Well, and then you look
can
at
run and catch the football.
Look at the depth that gives Georgia at tight end.
Yeah.
With Nada and Blazevich is good. Jordan Davis, I've heard, has done really well in practice the last couple years.
Make no mistake, Isaac Nada will be on the field to
No,
start this season.
He'll be the starter.
Yeah.
I think we all
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
But that gives them depth behind it.
Yeah.
That They
Exactly.
can do a lot of different things, which I think is one thing that Jim Chaney wants
Yeah.
to do, is use a lot of different guys, and maybe you don't have to rely on a Chubb as much as they once did.
Maybe a 2 tight end set,
They can do a lot of things.
The one
Patriots make a living off of
yeah,
that.
Yeah. We've got 3 names. These are 3 names. We've got 3 names written down. There are more, but 3 names that are really for Auburn, Alabama, and UGA. 3 of the top guys that they're all going after, tugging after: Derek Brown, Miko Hardman, and Mac Wilson.
Derek Brown, a defensive tackle from Lanier High School in around Buford, and just to let you know, Kirby Smart went on a helicopter to
I'm
go
about
see
to
the
say
guy.
he landed on the field.
A top-notch recruit coming out of Buford that didn't go to Buford. They
didn't recruit him over there?
He's a unicorn. I mean it's amazing.
I don't believe what you just said.
It's amazing.
That's some shade being thrown at Buford
That was not
practices of how they get certain athletes to go to Buford High School.
Hey, I know people at Buford. Be careful. That's not what I'm saying.
Stars Millionaires?
No, I used to work
close.
up there. I used to work up there.
You used to work in Gainesville, remember?
I understand that, but I just wondered if they, maybe you take some shade and throw it at them.
Listen,
Stars Mill's the
I'm
best
sure there's
ever.
a lot of Columbus teams that happily agree with his sentiment.
He said it, not me.
Derek Brown's good.
Derek Brown's
Very good.
Is that a safe opinion to have?
Yes.
Yeah. And again, he's a guy who's going to be an impact guy. And think for Georgia bringing in Trent Thompson last year. If you couple him with Derek Brown, and they got a couple other defensive tackles coming in, that'll be big. Alabama, any of these defensive guys who go to Alabama, you know what they do.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Alabama's going to Alabama, roll tide, all that stuff.
Yeah, you know what they're going to do.
When your fourth guy off the bench ends up being Rashawn Evans.
Yeah,
exactly.
And now he's going to start, and then they just bring in Mekhi Brown to fill the spot that he had.
Exactly.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Although,
boring. Alabama.
Based on the recruiting services, and God, this is so stupid to even say this, and I'm still going to say it, even though I acknowledge that. Alabama looks to maybe fallen a little bit. So usually they have the first, second class. Some people have them around 9, 10, 11 right now. I still think they'll be fine.
We'll wait until signing day.
I was just getting ready to say, let's see if they stay there on Wednesday night.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But those are some names that will be big for all three of those schools.
I will say this time last year we were all the rumor was this Terry Godwin. He was Georgia, but was he gonna flip? Kind of glad we don't have to deal with that quite as much. Even whatever we were talking about with Jawan Pass, it's not at that level that Terry was.
Well, and like I said, a lot of nobody knows what these players are thinking.
They're high school kids.
For these players,
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're the only ones who know, and anybody who says they know what's going. We can say what players tell us, and reporters and people on Twitter will say what players say, but anybody who thinks that they know where a player is going to until they sign on the dotted line.
Well, who was the linebacker last year that on signing day, like for Middle Georgia, committed to UCLA, and then later on is like, no, I'm going to go to Georgia.
And then I'm not even going to send in
Roquan Smith.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to send in my letter of intent.
Like literally on signing day, he put on the hat and the gloves for UCLA, and then he decided,
Oops.
that was not.
Y'all remember that one player up? I think it was like Iowa or something. Committed to somewhere, put the hat on and everything. Come to find out, he didn't have offers from any big schools. No, hey, in case you're wondering, it was a few years ago.
It must have been before I started working here.
Hey, on this sheet we have Jamie Dubose on Twitter.
Yeah,
So.
that's a good closing point.
Yeah. Jamie DuBose is on Twitter, y'all.
He's on Twitter. He's joined the craziness, I guess.
The Twitter.
Now,
I guess.
you said you had talked to him a little bit before he got his Twitter account about just Twitter in general with coaches.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not saying you pushed him to get a Twitter
No,
account.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. If I did.
He got a Twitter to help promote his players.
Oh, naturally.
Which-
he's not on there to
Him and Hall with us.
to him and Hall with us. Although Jenna Caleri over at the competition,
She's a friend too.
She's good people.
She was taking videos of him showing us his squats, his exercises the other day.
Well,
so,
maybe he should put that on his
yeah,
Twitter.
I'm sure she did.
It probably is.
I'll say this in terms of just how Twitter affects recruiting. Go look at Pierre Coffey's Twitter. That guy is working as hard as anybody to get his kids into a college.
And they're going to have some guys signed too
Yes.
on Wednesday.
Yeah, and Northside will have some guys as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So
there's
these guys are working hard.
Exactly. And you got to give a shout out to the coaches because
What time does your workday start on Wednesday?
Early.
Crack of dawn.
what time does your start?
I think my first thing I'm scheduled to go to is at 10 a.m. But
Yeah.
usually you get on the Twitter bird before that and
Oh yeah.
Start doing some stuff.
We'll be
Yeah.
up around
8
on Twitter around
with our
8:30,
fax
9 o'clock.
machines.
Yeah. No, that's what we do.
How do we? What? We can't do better
can't
than
email?
faxes in 2000. Well, take a picture with your phone and do a
Scan
PDF or
something.
something. I mean, if I can scan my credit card and then pay a bill with my
scan a
thumbprint
check
on
on
my
this
phone,
thing.
we should be able to do something besides fax machines.
Exactly.
It's part of the lore, man. Kind of a
Well,
pageantry.
Traditions change.
Is there a day
No.
or a moment where
I'm
a
gonna
fax
grumble.
machine gets more fame than National Signing Day?
Nope.
Um,
Not in 2016.
You got one.
it's Tennessee fax girl.
Oh yeah.
she got more fame.
Well, some teams don't they have like a live camera on their
yes,
fax
Tennessee,
machine?
the
Yeah.
fax girl.
Yeah.
she was the fax girl, and she's attractive. So, so that's why.
How attractive was she?
I'm attractive. I don't know. We don't have a scale here.
Was she a 5-star?
she was a 5-star.
Oh
recruit,
man.
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, close us out before we get in
Please.
trouble, Jack.
Hey, by the way, these kids that are going to some of these schools, a lot of 5-stars out there too.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's that's one reason some of these kids do things.
Yep.
Jacob Easton, have fun, buddy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So that's gonna wrap it up.
Too much fun.
So we will all,
Enough fun to still be there on Saturdays.
Oh man, y'all stop. We gonna get in trouble.
We have fun too, buddy.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be all over the place on National Signing Day. Dane, you have a couple stops. Mitchell, I know you're going to be all over the place. I'll be manning our social media efforts here from the station. So follow us at Dan Young, at LE Prep Sports, at J Patterson TV. Follow the WRBL Sports account at WRBL Sports. Natalie Pellicelli, she'll be out there as well. So follow her at Nat Pellicelli. And we'll get you through and we'll try to give you all the things you need to know on the evening edition and night watch on Wednesday. And Dane, you got the work cut out for you, buddy.
We all do. It's fun though. Like we say, it's a lot of work. It is. It's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It's so fun to see these kids get to this point, and that's exciting.
Exactly, and see the parents happy and everything. So
And get some free food.
that always.
I think Smith Station's already said they got a good lunch plan. Just to throw that out. You might want to put Smith Station on your list. For you, I know y'all split it up for the lunch.
Changing.
Yeah.
Here you go.
So I mean,
Kidding.
or maybe that's just some peer pressure to get everyone to feed us.
Hey man,
Jamie DuBose, start cooking.
quickest way to a journalist's heart is through their stomach.
I bet Marcus will cook at Jordan. I'm gonna cook something for us.
Yeah, cooking something.
They might have Jamie Keating out there.
You said you're seeing him tomorrow. See if we'll cook us something.
I'll ask.
Find that out for us. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up. Follow us on Twitter on Wednesday. We'll get you through everything. But for now, for Dan Young and David Mitchell, I'm Jack Harrison. We'll see you in August.
I'm gonna practice signing as long as we tell people to do this without actually signing. You don't know that, right?
Yeah, we know that. Yeah. So
Bye.
we'll see you in August, guys.